appreciate that you said that, because Christopher, what you basically, and you admit it yourself, that you've taken all of these sort of wokeness moments, corporate wokeness, corporate sort of woke money, woke capital, the things that annoy conservatives, and you've stuffed it all into the name critical race theory. It's really like, it's like Christopher Rufo theory. You stuffed it all in. Here's what you said.
Hey there, guys. Welcome to the channel. So today I want to talk about what many people consider one of the most memorable interviews in the history of TV. So Joy Reid, she had a sit down with CHRIS RUFO, and it's amazing to watch. So Chris, he's well known for his conservative stance against many things, but primarily critical race theory. And he's without a doubt a sharp guy. There's no arguing that. So it's interesting to see the dynamic between these two, especially given the fact that there probably isn't even an item on a menu somewhere that they can agree on. So let's see how this goes.
Ibram Kendi, Dr. Ibram Kendi, who's a college professor, you call him the guru of critical race theory. So we reached out to him. I've interviewed him before. So we reached out to him because you say he's the guru of critical race theory. You name him a lot in a lot of your, both in your manifesto or your talking points memo, but also in your video. We reached out to him. We asked him if he's a critical race theorist. He said, I admire critical race theory, but I don't identify as a critical race theorist. I'm not a legal scholar, so I wasn't trained on critical race theory. I'm a historian. And Chris would know this if he actually read my work or understood that critical race theory is taught in law schools. I didn't attend law school, which is where critical race theory is taught. It's really the only place it's taught. NBC has looked into everywhere, and it's not taught in elementary school. But hold on a second. This is the second thing he said, which is strange to me that you...
Let me respond. This is not a monologue. This should be a dialogue, right? Am I right?
It's my show, so it's how I want to do it. So let me read you one more quote from him, because you've made a lot of claims about critical race theory saying that white Americans are inherently racist, that racism is inherent to whiteness. And that is one of the core charges that you're making about, you know, these sort of what you consider like sort of woke studies in school. This is what Ibram Kendi has said in his own words. He said, we've been taught that racist is essential to who a person is. It's a fixed category. It's in someone's heart. That's one of the reasons why people are unwilling to or unable to admit the times in which they're being racist, because it's not just admitting I was being racist in that moment. Basically, we're tattooing racist on our forehead for the rest of our lives. Isn't that the opposite of what you're arguing?
Well, I'll say two things. First of all, it's very interesting to me that so many people are now running away from the race of the label of critical race theory. But
he's not a critical race theorist.
Hold on. I'm going to quote two critical race theorists. Barbara Applebaum with the book Being Good, Being White. She says, quote, all white people are racist. Robin DiAngelo, who's another critical whiteness studies scholar, says that, quote, all white identity is inherently racist. So what you're doing is you're playing a series of word games. You know that critical whiteness studies is a subfield of critical race theory?
No, it's not.
These things are all deeply interrelated.
No, they're not.
And I'm not going to let you play word games. And this is really, I think, the most essential thing.
Hold on. No.
Let me respond at least once. I haven't gotten a full sentence out.
Because I'm not going to let you see. One of the things that, and I don't know, you probably never watched me on TV. Just, you know, we didn't know who each other were, you know, not so long ago. But I don't allow people to just make up and say lies on the show. It's just not really right to do that and let people hear. But hold on, Robin DiAngelo. Wait.
Am I right
Robin
or wrong?
DiAngelo is not a critical race theorist, and I want everyone to know that. Robin I don't know who the other woman is, but she's not.
So yeah, let me know in the comments how it looks to you. But to me, it seems like Joy Reid's interaction, they just seem to boil down. This is almost all of her interactions. They seem to boil down to disregarding evidence. You know, even when faced with a book that's titled How to Be an Anti-Racist, she ignores it and tries to explain it away. It's a classic leftist move. You know, when confronted, just deflect and interrupt. You know, when someone starts to veer away from their own words or previous standpoints, well, that's a sign. You know, steer clear. You're not going to have anything other than a disingenuous conversation with that person. And really, you know, this video, it's a testament to how much the mainstream media really is changing. So if Joy, I think, if she had an independent platform outside of MSNBC, you have to wonder how the public would react to the things she says, you know, if she didn't have this safety net of a major network. I mean, just a glance at the like-dislike ratio on this video, it tells a story. 5,000 likes, 25,000 dislikes. That is absolutely ratioed. And the mainstream narrative, they can't hide behind dismissals anymore. You know, especially with evidence, it's everywhere. You know, and thankfully we do have people. We have voices like CHRIS RUFO really highlighting these issues, and they're not backing down. You know, despite mainstream media's attempts to sidestep or deny truth seekers, we do have some, you know, like him, they're going to continue to challenge the narrative, even when faced with repetitive denials. It's almost like fuel to them. You know, I'm going to keep this rolling, guys, but first, thanks so much to everyone that's been subscribing and leaving such great comments. We really appreciate the support. If you haven't already, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. Help us grow. Let's do this together.
But let's just go through a minute, because whiteness, you know, and racist, whiteness and racist. Sure. Where did the term whiteness come from?
Sure, and I think this is an important point, and I hope you let me actually get a full paragraph out about this.
Go for it.
But whiteness is the idea that there is some kind of metaphysical category in the world, that all white people are reducible to this essence of whiteness. Then what happens is that they load all of these negative connotations. They say that whiteness is by definition, that includes white fragility, includes white privilege, includes internalized white superiority. And then what they do is they try to impose these reductive racial categories onto individuals. And I actually agree with Kendi's approach. I think that we should fight race essentialism. But the problem is that critical race theory enshrines race essentialism.
But you
and you see it in schools. And I'll give you 3 examples of critical race theory being taught in schools.
Hold on one second.
In Cupertino, California.
In Cupertino, these are in your talking points, sir. Chris, these are in your talking points, and I know what you're going to say because you said it with Mark Lamont Hill. You repeat these same things. They're in this manifesto. People can read it online. Let me just go for a second.
All right. So here's a classic case of media engagement, or lack thereof, the opposite of media engagement. So Joy Reid asks a question, but doesn't seem open to the response, especially when actual evidence comes out. You know, it's like asking someone to show their cards in a poker game, but then closing your eyes when they actually do. So obviously, you know, to me at least, let me know in the comments if you agree, but Joy Reid, her approach, it feels less about truth seeking and more about just shutting down dissenting thought, shutting down conversation. And it's concerning tactic, you know, not letting someone voice their perspective or present their evidence. And you got to wonder what her actual viewers think of scenes like this. I mean, do they wonder why she even brought the guy on the show? Do they wonder why she's hiding what Chris has to say from them? I mean, do they think at all? I don't know. Do they realize, you know, that this lady that they watch day in and day out, I'm sure many of them, she has absolutely zero interest in having a real conversation or finding any truth. And it's insane when you really think about it. Her viewers, these are the very same people who are all about preserving and protecting our endangered democracy. And here they are watching one of their heroes suppressing dissenting voices. And they're probably happy about it. And I wish I knew anyone who actually watched this stuff. You know, I'd ask them. And if you guys are trolling the comments and you watch this stuff, let me know. What is it like to see, you know, this liberal icon shut down any opposing thought and just ignore it like it doesn't exist and just keep peddling the same narrative that you're accustomed to? It's crazy. But there's a highlight here that Chris holds his own later in the discussion. Even with constant interruptions, he maintains his pace, he stands firm, and he turns the tables.
Subject of whiteness, are you aware, since you say that, I guess you're sort of a quasi-historian in your thinking, that whiteness was actually formed in the United States? That whiteness didn't even exist as a thing. Europeans were all European. They considered themselves Italian or Polish or whatever. When the colonists came here, they actually created the idea of whiteness. This is from the Smithsonian.
I agree with that.
As a way to distinguish themselves from what they call the savages, the natives, and from black people, from Africans, who even if you had a little African in you, you know, if you're Plessy, who's 7/8 white, if you are African in any aspect, that you are reduced of rights. So people that you don't like, that are doing this sort of wokeness training, are saying whiteness has always had power. There used to be a saying, I'm free, white, and 18. It was commonly said in the 50s and 60s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. So whiteness has power. So people who want to decouple whiteness from power, that's what you're annoyed by, right? Let me play a little bit of what you said. You did a speech. Hold on. You did a speech at the Claremont Institute in which you talked a little bit about how you really feel about the academics of it. Here it is. This is cut. I think this is it 3? Yeah, go for it. Play it.
I'm a white guy fighting critical race theory.
Do you identify as white?
I mean, I'm an Italian American, so you tell me. Lumping people into white, black, Asian, as you suggested, is such a crude and broad categorization.
There's these like very kind of pathetic and very, angry graduate students that try to fight me on these highly technical, Hegel interpretations. And it's like, I don't have time for this. I don't give a about this stuff.
So you don't give an S about this stuff. You're really just having a campaign to take everything that annoys white Americans and white conservatives.
No, that's not right.
You want to make a campaign and stuff everything in there that people annoy.
You played my highlight reel. Give me a chance to respond.
And you want
to
stuff it all into critical race theory, right?
What I don't think is right is that forcing 8-year-olds in Cupertino, California to deconstruct their racial identities and then rank themselves according to power and privilege. It's intersectionality theory, which was invented by Kimberly Crenshaw.
It's a separate thing.
Which is part of critical race theory.
No, it's not, dear.
You had her on your show. You know this.
Yeah, she invented
here's
both
the bottom
things.
Line, Joy.
She invented
what you've
both
done
things.
in tonight's segment is exactly what I'm fighting against. I'm fighting against the manipulation of language. I'm fighting against language
You're fighting against wokeness, and you don't like
basically
corporate wokeness,
all of
etc.
these euphemistic terms with subversive content. Because otherwise, you just say whatever you want, and then you back away from it, and you dance around it. It's not going to happen. Parents all over this country, they know what's happening in schools. They know what's happening in their public institutions. And you're seeing people revolt against this divisive identity politics. And you can dance all you want, but you're not going to stop people from understanding what's happening in
So yeah, pretty interesting to watch for sure. Chris Rufo, he seems prepared for an actual conversation, which I'm sure he can't. When he left here, he probably couldn't believe that he was that silly to show up ready for a conversation. But Joy, her approach, sidetrack the conversation. That's it. She wants absolutely no part in any kind of intellectual debate with Chris Rufo. That's for sure. And one noteworthy aspect of her demeanor, let me know in the comments if you agree, but her smile seems rehearsed, not genuine. And it looks really unsettling. It's like if you're on a first date or whatever, and you're just, all you can think about is getting the hell out of there. That's the smile that you have. And her constant paper shuffling, she's not referencing notes. That's deflect. That's a distraction. She's nervous. And she probably really, really upset, very angry at that time, wants to just strangle whoever brought this guy on her show. And it feels like she might be using it as a tactic to avoid actually engaging in conversation or appearing attentive. And the last thing she'd want is to be seen by her audience as actively listening or engaging with some evil straight white male.
Appreciate that you said that, because Christopher, what you basically, and you admit it yourself, that you've taken all of these sort of wokeness moments, corporate wokeness, the corporate sort of woke money, woke capital, the things that annoy conservatives, and you've stuffed it all into the name critical race theory. It's really like, it's like Christopher Rufo theory. You stuffed it all in. Here's what you said. You tweeted this. The activists, hold on one second. I'm going to read you to you, and then you can respond to it. I'm going to read you to you, and then you respond to it. The activists are realizing that their ideas, once put into practice, are generating discontent, which is you just described. Their racial coalition is also breaking apart. Asian Americans, in particular, revolting against CRT, which is really Christopher Rufo theory because you made it up, is punishing them more than any other group. Then you said we have successfully frozen their brand, critical race theory, into the public conversation and are steadily driving up negative perceptions. We will eventually turn it toxic as we put all the various cultural insanities under that brand category. The goal is to have the public read something crazy in the newspaper and immediately think critical race theory. We have decodified the term and will recodify it to annex the entire range of cultural constructions that are unpopular with Americans. Aren't you just taking wokeness stuff that annoys you and calling it critical race theory?
No, not at all. The idea of the codification and decodification of language comes from the critical pedagogist Paulo Freire. And my strategy is to take these...
Now you're doing pedagogy, Christopher?
Yes. To take these techniques and use them against their own ideology. And I'll tell you, Joy, my strategy has been enormously successful. According to the Economist magazine poll, 64% of Americans now know what critical race theory is.
No, they know what Christopher Rufo theory is.
Of which 58% of them
You
think
made
that
up your own thing, bro. You made, my friend, you made up your own thing. You admitted you were going to do it. And I'm going to give you credit for one thing. You did create your own thing. Not a lot of guys in their 30s have created their own thing, labeled it something that already existed as a name, slapped that brand name on it, and turned it into a successful political strategy. You've done that. It's creating a lot of hell at school board meetings, but you did accomplish that. So, Christopher Rufo, thank you, man. Thank you for being here.
Well,
really
Joy, I
you.
appreciate it, and I'll give you the position as the most prestigious Christopher Rufo theory scholar in the world. I hope next time you give me at least a chance to complete 2 sentences. I think it'll be a lot more fun.
Well, not if you're going to do talking points.
We'll try again next time.
They were your talking points, so
again.
people can read your talking points online because they're online as well.
So yeah, usually these TV folks, man, they can at least have arguments that make sense. You know, even if we might not agree with them, they usually have some cogent argument. You know, but who knows? You know, maybe Joy will be replacing Whoopi over on The View. You know, I thought you guys enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments what you think. And please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. We'll see you in the next one.